Chess is a very fun game, which is probably why I was smiling right now. But I was playing round 6 of the European Women's Blitz Chess Championship taking place in beautiful Monaco. And in this round, I was playing against Sophia Lordier from France. Sophia Lordier, maybe is how you pronounce it? I don't speak French. And she was rated 1882. So I was high rated in this round. But of course, it's never easy to win against anybody. So I never underestimate my opponents. I had the black pieces and we were just waiting around until it was time for us to start the game, which always takes a little while because everyone needs to be seated and so on. But finally, the arbiter said for us to start our clocks and we shook our hands and then I started the clock. So she went d4, I went d5, she went c4, e6, she brought out her knight and I brought out mine, and now she played this move g3. So this is what we call a Catalan. And I was now trying to make the decision on what line I should play. Should I take on c4 or should I go bishop b4 check, which are the two lines that I know. I decided to take and went bishop b4 check after, and now the idea is to go a5 and protect this bishop with the pawn so that if she takes, I get a nice little group of pawns. She castled, I castled, and now she is planning on going after my c4 pawn, which is the pawn that is my extra pawn, but it's also a little bit weak. So here I know that I'm in certain moments supposed to play the move b6 so that if she takes the pawn, I can go bishop a6. I wasn't sure if this was exactly the moment when I should do it, but I decided to do it now anyways. So she spent a little bit of time thinking, and as you can see, we have 3 minutes on the clock. We get a 2-second increment per move, so the games are very, very, very fast. Also, I've been receiving some compliments on my glasses, and I just wanted to say thank you. They're new, and I really like them. Okay. She kept on thinking, and I was also trying to calculate what happens if she takes my pawn and I go bishop a6, or if she takes my bishop first on b4 and I have to take it back and then takes my pawn. But she played bishop f4 instead, which wasn't really something I was so worried about. And her plan was that she wanted to use this diagonal for the bishops that she has on g2. So I went bishop a6, protecting the pawn. She went knight d2, attacking the pawn again. And I now had to see, do I defend the pawn? Do I do a crazy move to c3? I was thinking about c3 actually for a bit. Do I not care about the pawn? There's many different ways to see it and think about it, and I wasn't sure what was the best option. So I spent a little bit of time thinking here, and I wasn't too worried because I did still have more time than her. But time was of the essence. Was there any way I could attack her bishop? Maybe. Was that a good plan? Her bishop now didn't have so many squares to go to. The bishop now cannot retreat because the knight is covering the retreatment squares, and a bishop on e3 wouldn't be so good. So I ended up thinking, wait a second, maybe I should actually go after the bishop. And that's what I ended up doing. I went knight d5 in this position, threatening her bishop, with the idea being that if I am able to take on f4, I'll be able to force her to get some really bad pawns. So she didn't care about my threat and she simply took my pawn. And now I thought, at least I have the bishop pair. But I also wasn't sure, was this even that good for me? I mean, it's equal pawns, but should I have tried to keep my extra pawn? Was that the only advantage I had, and did I just lose it? I wasn't sure. So I wanted now to start attacking some of her weaknesses. I was thinking about queen f6. I was also thinking about the fact that she has a very nasty bishop that's maybe able to create a lot of trouble for me. So I ended up going for the move knight c6, which looks like a very crazy move, and the reason for that is because it is. She had this beautiful move knight g5, and I had completely missed this. I couldn't believe that I had missed this move, and I knew now that I was going to lose a piece and probably the game. Because by doing this move, which she instantly saw, she was both threatening checkmate with queen takes h7, but she was also threatening my knight. And I knew that the game was now technically over. But I decided to think about my previous game where I had won a piece in the opening against a higher rated opponent, and spoiler alert, I ended up losing that game. So I thought if my other lower or higher rated opponent was able to beat me being a piece down, maybe I can win this game being a piece down. I knew it was extremely optimistic, but I thought optimism is the only thing I have left right now because I don't have enough pieces or position to try to win the game. So I decided to be very optimistic and not let this affect me too much. And so I decided to make things messy. And I try to have the mindset that now I can just play for fun. And if something crazy happens, I'll even be able to win the game. So I was actually trying to make this into a positive thing. So I took this pawn because I wanted for many things to be hanging. I wanted the game to be very chaotic. And soon she was going to get low on time as well. So I thought maybe I can try to find a way to trick her. Her knight was hanging right now, so she had to deal with that, but my rook was also hanging. She ended up moving her knight, and I then decided to take the other pawn, threatening her knight. I was afraid she was simply going to go something like knight h3, because I thought then that, well, I wasn't sure, I didn't have any checks. Maybe I would have to then attack the knight, but instead she went knight f3, which I quickly realized meant that her bishop wouldn't be able to go back in the defense of her king. So I started seeing some positive things. Okay, she can't right now defend her king, perhaps. So I decided to bring my rook into the center so that that rook could be used for attack. She did the same thing. And now I went bishop d6 because I didn't want to trade pieces. She went knight g2. I went queen h6. She brought her queen into the center, and I realized that she was now going to be bringing in a lot of her pieces, but I was happy because I now felt like my pieces were really working, but I only had 20 seconds left. So I wanted to play f5, but the issue was then that the pawn was hanging. So I decided to go bishop c8 to prepare to go f5 and e5 and just basically start attacking her pieces. I started by going e5 first because I just kind of thought this was more annoying to face. She wanted to trade queens. I obviously do not want to trade queens right now because I'm a piece down. So she brought up her knight and I decided to go f5. She went bishop check. I moved my king and her time was ticking, as was mine. She went knight e6. I knew that I had to take it. And then in this moment, I decided to play queen f6 and f4. So this was perhaps not the best because I'm really tying down my bishop. But my plan was just to get those central pawns to get pushing. She was playing this very well, being able to completely control the position. I wasn't sure how to continue, but I had a very good bishop and her knight was really bad. It could barely move. So I was trying to come up with a plan. I had 5 seconds on the clock. I went g5, which was a crazy move. She threatened my bishop and I, with 1 second on the clock, less than a second on the clock, I made my move. She took the pawn. I decided that I had to activate my rook. I only had a couple seconds left. I kept making moves with less than a second left on the clock. I was freaking out. And now I had to just not blunder anything. And I had to try to make things as complicated as possible. When she did this move after, I was very happy because I felt like now there were more files for my pieces to get into. She played rook e2. And now I went queen f4. I wanted to bring the queen closer to her king. She had very little time left. She went bishop f5 and I quickly saw that now she would lose her bishop because after rook g3 and the queen has to move back, I'm able to win her bishop. She took my pawn, but I now knew that I had a winning position because I'd won back the piece I earlier lost. She went rook e1. I went rook g6. I was just trying to make moves without losing on time. She went queen f2. I went check because I wanted to win some more time. She went back. I went back. she played f4, which I thought would weaken her pawn, so I tried to get my rook in. She got rook e7. I kept looking at the clock. I took the pawn on f4. She went queen check. I'd missed that check. I got really stressed. I went back, rook g7, and now she took the rook and took it with her rook. I went queen h4, check first. She moved her king, but when she moved it, she didn't have time to press the clock, and I realized that she had lost on time. But her position was now completely lost, so even if I wouldn't have won on time, I would probably have won the game. But in this position, I was literally telling her that she deserved to win, that I had such a losing position before. And she started telling me that she could have gone queen takes g7 and it would have been a forced checkmate. But I was unsure about that because I didn't think her rook was there. So I was telling her that I didn't think that. But yeah, so we were both talking about this move, takes on g7, but I think she got confused about where her rook was, because I think she thought her rook was on g1, but her rook was not on g1. So anyways, we were talking about the game. But yeah, she played an incredible game, and I was very lucky to win it. But that's the beauty of Blitz games, that anything can happen. You can have winning positions that you lose and losing positions that you win. So here we were still discussing it a little bit. And yeah, but anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, do please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.